And we're on the second of the warm-up laps and one of the TVRs. All 450 brake horsepower of them actually spun on their warm-up lap, but they're warming these big tyres. And when I say warming these big tyres, these boys are certainly quick around here. Well underneath the minute, and we've had 2 races so far, and the grid has been made up from the results of those 2 qualifying heats. And on pole position is Bobby Verdon-Roe, and beside him Jamie Campbell-Walter. Now Jamie Campbell-Walter has a connection around because he drove in Vauxhall, Formula Vauxhall, for the PTM team in the UK, so we'll be rooting for him. But between himself and Verdon-Roe, there will be some snapshots. Blower on the next, beside him Martin Short. Then Phil Hindley from Chester in the York International car. Ian McKellar Jr., who's been looked after by Barry Lee, a great man for the ovals and the stock cars, not like you think stock cars, but these guys are absolutely thrill seekers. Some of the younger guys beginning to get into this class, 19 and 20 year olds, but I would say most of the drivers 40 plus fat, and beside me is a driver that's 40 plus fat. Arnie Black, have you had a run on one of these?
No, I haven't had a run on one of these, Brian, but they must be really exciting. It's like a Formula 5000 car with 2 seats. I think on the warm-up lap what happened was one of the guys thought there was only one lap and stopped and got whacked up the back by another one. Unfortunately, I think it was maybe Phil Hindley who hit him, who's now in the pits, trying to get the front of his car rebuilt, so we may be one guy down. Can't just see his number from here, but hopefully he will get him going. He's on motoring now as he goes past us here. It's number 75, Phil Hindley, so hopefully he will get out. He'll have to join from the pit lane as the guys leave the grid.
And someone else we're going to watch for right from the back. If you were watching yesterday, you saw an accident between Ian Flux and Steve Cole, and they are being put on the back of the grid. We have somebody waving their hands in that bright yellow car in the middle of the grid. Obviously she's cut out. We see the marshals there gesturing to him as he got it restarted. It looks like Grant Troman's car, number 19. It is indeed. Hands back on the wheel. Just a little bit of a panic. The adrenaline will start to go. We're waiting for that 5-second board. Yellow flag being brought in means that all the grid are ready to go. That's the little board there. 5 seconds to go. Listen to the roar. Who will make it in first? Will it be Bobby Verdon-Roe or Jamie Campbell-Walter? Verdon-Roe gets a superb start, but from the outside of the second row, someone being left there. That is Peter Faulkner, the Irish driver that's involved. But Verdon-Roe gets through into that first all-important corner. They're pushing each other out onto the grass as they head themselves out into the country. 2 abreast, nearly 3 abreast. They're piling on the pressure. Jamie Campbell-Walter caught napping on the line, Arnie.
Yeah, Verdon-Roe did what he did yesterday. He got a perfect start, but this time he's got Walker to deal with. And last race he had a little bit of an easy passage out front, but I don't think Walker's going to let him away with it. Very tough character, very experienced. You can see Verdon-Roe locking the front wheel as he comes into the double apex down the back here, but I think he's going to have a hard job to stay in front.
And at third place we have Martin Short, but he's just got it so out of shape there. He lost a little bit of time, but they're really trying. Takes a couple of laps of these big wide slicks, these Dunlop slicks, to get really sticky. The first 2 men beginning to pull away slightly. Bobby Verdon-Roe there in the white car, followed by the black team and Jamie Campbell-Walker. He hasn't given up yet. And then in third place it is Martin Short, and they're followed then by, I think, Colin Blower is up there in number 5, a spinner there, number 25. That is Martin Gilchrist. Just got it all wrong, and if you lose these things the slightest way, they just run away with you.
Absolutely, they're on a knife edge. They've got so little grip at the moment. It's very difficult. But what we're really looking for now is we've got Ian Flux, Steve Cole on the back of this grid, who had a little coming together yesterday, as Brian said, and they'll be fighting their way through to the front. No sign of them yet, but you can be sure that Fluxy is going to be hard on the board. Jamie
Campbell-Walter just beginning to put the loud pedal in as they come through the S's. He's beginning to close in on that leader. Don't forget it's a 16-lap race, so he'll be watching all the time. He's even closer than he was as they come down the straight now. Let's hope he's not going to do a demon out braking maneuver as Fluxy did yesterday, but these 2 shouldn't be pulling away from Martin Shaw. Thought about the inside line, said no, not enough room. I know Bobby Verdon-Roe, he's going to close that door on me, and he's got to do. And yet another spinner. We just can't see the number, but you can see her. Here he comes in. That's the York International car that had the problem. He's losing his bonnet, cannot see where he's going. He's going to understeer out there and possibly cause that man to spin. He's heading for the grass, and it's York is over for you today, my son. But again, Martin Short and the third of these cars beginning to pull in that tiny little bit, but there's no doubt that Jamie Campbell-Walter there I think we just call him Walter because that Jamie Campbell, he could have passed him by the time I'd say it's a Walter in the second car. The black one on the ragged edge just sticks the tail out a little bit there. Bobby Verdon-Roe using all the road as quick an exit as he can as they come down the straight.
Verdon-Roe, very, very competent driver, raced everything, touring cars, Formula 3, the whole bit. He's been used to pressure, no problem to him. But you can see he's not making the mistake of driving a defensive line yet. He's still leaving the door open, but he's got enough confidence to know that he can be late on the brakes. Now he's pulled away 2 car lengths through those 2 corners. This means that Walker now has to look in the mirror and check that he's not going to get jumped by the next guy. So it's very tight up front, no chance of making a mistake.
Verdon-Roe just putting it in there. Now we got another message from the pits. There's a jump start for car number 3. He's well down the grid. In fact, it's Steve Cole who was on the second last row, so you might as well jump it, Steve. It won't make any difference. You're way down the end. But Colin Blower Motorsport builds this car for Jamie Walker. Took him out of the Vauxhalls, gave him a try in the car, and he just feels that it's absolutely superb. But Verdon-Roe at the moment beginning to come under pressure. You can see it beginning to tail, beginning to move around a bit. That means he's really trying. And Jamie has a look at that inside line, and Martin Short is beginning to close in as well.
Yes, and we've got Fluxy now up into 11th place, so he's making a huge manoeuvres forwards. Hopefully he'll be coming on our screen before too long. But these guys at the front very tight. No chance for anyone to make a mistake. A missed gear, a locked wheel, slightly offline, and you're going to go back 1 place. No,
you are penalised yourself if you make a mistake around this very tight track, because even to get it out sideways. Martin Short there still in 3rd place, and Ian McKellar Jr. in 4th with Colin Blower in 5th. Still, that is the York car. We thought he was going to go for the pits. They're showing him a flag to tell him. In fact, they're showing him the black flag, unfortunately, because the officials of the circuit feel that it's too dangerous. If a piece of that flies off, it may cause grief to someone behind. So a hand out, waving them down the outside. They're black flagging. You can see the black flag, hand in the air. His race is over. But look, the headlights are on because they're beginning to lapse lower markers. Verdon-Roe there, the black one, Jamie Walter Thomas, Martin Short gets through. He just leaves the door open. No, he closed the door and he held up Ian McKellar Jr. so you can see he's actually just got in the way, even though he's been black flagged.
Ian McKellar, a very quick guy, only 19 years old. We haven't seen him before in TVRs here, but he's really flying this weekend. Great to see a young guy, and a little bit of contact there. Now that looked a little bit naughty, considering that the guy has got a black flag, I think.
Well, that black flag, the number on it was number 2, so they're letting the York car continue, and they want to interview the driver of car number 2. So he's been brought in for absolutely no reason that we know about, so we'll let you know what that problem is. That's Rod Breton way at the back of the grid. There's Martin Short still in 3rd place, but look at Jamie Campbell-Walter still on the tail of Verdon-Roe. He's not letting him away. He's looking at that inside line. Short still there. McKellar lost out there with the York car. Not his fault. He wasn't black flag. It was our mistake. We just presumed, and he's right on his tail. A little bite of the exhaust pipe there, Arnie.
Yeah, these cars are very fragile. They've got fiberglass front and rear ends, but it's very light. The car is pretty heavy, and if they get a little bit of tap, the next thing is a mudguard has fallen off, or a wing, and sometimes comes in against the tire, can cut a tire. So he's got to be careful. He wants to be passed, giving him a little tap to let him know he's there, as if he needs any reminding.
He'll be looking at his mirrors. He'll see Jamie all over the back. For meanwhile, Martin Short is really beginning to close in for that 2nd place. But as we said, 4.5 litre engine, 450 brake horsepower, and they're lapping Mondello in 56 and a little bit seconds. And the 2 top men, 1 and 2, as they are on the road at the moment, beginning to catch the back markers. Now this is where the race changed yesterday, because they've got to weed their way through. They're doing a tremendous speed. You can see that Verdon-Roe got the advantage there because he just was in on the right time to get out onto the racing line, and Jamie Campbell had to use that inside line, which is slightly slower, but then the next back marker might do it for him.
Yeah, swings and roundabouts. I think Walker's certainly got enough speed to close again. I think actually he might be slightly quicker if he was on his own, but there's so little in it, it's very hard to tell. These cars are wonderfully evenly matched. This engine is built by TVR themselves. They used to run Rovers. They've now gone over to this engine. The factory prepare them on a lease basis for these cars. Great system of running these, and they're very, very evenly matched.
And as Arnie was saying, this man, Bobby Verdon-Roe, vastly experienced. Formula First, Formula Ford, former Renault champion. then he was in Formula 3, then he went to touring cars, and then he decided we'd try these big heavy sports cars, and that big heavy sports car has been followed very closely. You can see the two big air ducts of the V8 on the bonnet of both of the cars, the headlights on, that's to let everybody in front of them, the back markers mainly, that he's on a whinge. But yesterday we saw this man Verdon-Roe drive a copybook race. He didn't have the pressure that he's having today. Martin Short again dropping back, seems to be able to pull in Jamie Campbell-Walter and then drop back. Someone has been black flagged, and we'll bring you up to date on that as soon as we have the news. But at the moment, the second place man is not a black flag he wants a green flag because he wants to go. Will he have a look at the inside as they come down into the S's once more, as late as he can on the brakes? Jamie was there, but losing out a little bit. Late braking isn't always the quickest way. Again, out up the hill, a back marker in front, Martin Short in the green car. Oh, locking a wheel there, that shows you the pressure he's under. Jamie at the moment just doing everything right, just following it. He's just waiting for any little mistake at all, and he's through.
Yeah, just trying to push Verdon-Roe into the locked wheel situation and let slide a little bit wide and leave the door open. He hasn't made very many mistakes so far, but as you say, if he can brake a little bit early, he can get back in the power, and that's what these things are all about. There's no point going in with the car all crossed up. You want to get back in the power as soon as possible, but of course it's hard to do when there's a guy like Walker snapping at your heels.
Well, I was talking to Bobby Verdon-Roe. I said, what do they like to drive? He says they're like a Capri of many years ago. The brakes are nearly as good, and they weren't very good, I can tell you that. He says, except that you 2.5 times the power. A nice manoeuvre there by Walker down the inside of that back marker. Didn't lose much time as they get through the S's again. You can see just how powerful they are. Third car there is the back marker. Martin Short in the green car should be looking at the inside here as they come down the straight. Number 88 there, Martin Short out of that corner using all the load. Campbell-Walter at the moment just that 2 car lengths behind. You can see how they snake under braking. All fiberglass, very light shell, plenty of power, big wide Dunlop slicks, and a very tight circuit.
Yeah, I think Walker's getting ready to have a sniff here. He's had a couple of little efforts at closing up. He's getting a little bit closer each time. I think he's finally starting to reckon it's time that he had a real go down the inside in one of these corners.
Out of the bomb hole, as we call it, that double apex down, and Martin Short there for St. Ives. He's a professional roll cale manufacturer. That's what keeps them all safe, the things over their head. He's been in the kit car champion in '87, Formula First in '88. He's driven MG Metro turbos, Rover GTIs, and now he's up here with the big boys toys. And these are 2 of the quickest big boy toy owners that we have at the moment. Verdon-Roe out again, not using quite as much as the road as Jamie Campbell-Walter, being waved by there as they get down the straight. Out again, just putting a wheel on that white line to get the widest entry possible. Well done to that back marker, waved them through on the quick line. Martin Short got through as well. He's just sticking it over. Nice Short there, just popping through. So they are through back marker as well. Lights ablaze as they get back out into the country again. And it's here that we've seen that little puff of smoke again from Verdon-Roe. Is Walker putting him under pressure, Arnie?
I think so. I think he's really trying to close down on him now. He knows he doesn't have all that many laps to go. His brakes have stood up to it as well. We've seen him close in a few times into the hairpin at the end of the main straight, and it looks like he's going to have an effort. I think he's probably waiting until possibly the last couple of laps.
But this could be his chance because the back markers will play an important role. Verdon-Roe gets through on the inside. Back marker keeps well out of the way. That's number 25. Keeps that door, but Martin Short nearly got caught out there. But he's beginning to move in now that the back markers are beginning to play in this game. So if these 2 boys up front with 4 laps to go get caught up in the back markers, you can see now that Martin Short, maybe he was saving his tire, is beginning to turn the wick up.
Yeah, it looks like he might have been having a little rest, Brian, as you say. He's now trying to get the gap closed down between himself and the rest of them, and here we have number 75 still struggling along, cascading bits all over the place, determined to keep going to the finish. They're
coming back out into the main arena, and you can see that the 3rd place man Martin Short, who at the moment is in the 56s, while the first 2 cars are in the 57, so he's nearly a half a second quicker, and he's pulled it all back. He's looking for that 2nd place. He's leaving it late, only a couple of laps to go, but look at Martin Short out using all the curbs Jamie Campbell-Walter will suddenly look at his mirror and say, where did he come from? I haven't seen him for a couple of laps.
Yeah, tables turn now. Walker's going to have to start and look in his mirror. These three are getting set for a grandstand finish here now. With any luck, we're going to be treated to some outbreaking here over the next couple of laps.
Well, there's 3 laps to go, and that 3 laps is going to be a ding-dong, because these 3 are on a train, all lapping within 0.01, 0.02 of each other. But the times don't matter. They can see each other. They can smell each other. They're in each other. There's a man on the grass coming down the main straight. Don't ask me how he got there, but 88, that's still Martin Short. He's pulled it all in, has come right up through, and it's the back markers that's helped him, because the man that's really under pressure, and he's locking the wheel, Verdon-Roe locking that wheel there. He feels the pressure is from behind, so the 3 of them are locked in combat.
Yes, and it looks like Verdon-Roe has actually capitalised a little bit. I think he must have made Walker lift and just held up the 2 guys behind him. But we're coming down into the last couple of laps now, and this is going to be make or break. You can be sure there's going to be a huge effort here.
With 2 laps to go, 2 laps to go, and it's Bobby Verdon-Roe still out there in the front. No blue smoke, no locking wheels, and again Short looking at that inside line. That's tried to intimidate Jamie Campbell-Walter, but it didn't. Campbell-Walter just wants to get out of here, get out of my boot, he says. I want to get on after Bobby Verdon-Roe, and after this I think Bobby will be buying Martin Short a pint in the bar for keeping Jamie fairly busy and letting him get on about his business. They're on their second last lap, lights still ablaze, still a lot of back markers to catch up on this short circuit. Down we come again. Look at that. Short trying everything he knows, just hasn't got that last legs. Remember, all the same engines, all the same brakes, all the same tires, but so it's down to the nut behind the wheel, looking up the inside and very late on the brakes there. He's just trying to unsettle Jamie Campbell-Walter at the moment, and all this is playing right into Bobby's hands as he starts his last lap.
Yeah, this is absolutely great for him, because Walker being forced to drive defensively. This means that Verdon-Roe is getting a little break, a little tap there perhaps from Short. He's getting a little bit impatient, but I think Verdon-Roe has done enough. He's got a back marker between himself and the other 2, which has given him another second or so. Look at the gap he's pulled out now, but look at this. Short is not going to have a go around the outside. Despite it squirming all over the place, he's still determined to have a go to be second.
Just got himself a little out of shape coming in, but coming very, very quick indeed. He hasn't given up. He knows he has the S's left. Down that inside again, a big lock-up from Bobby Verdon-Roe. They're coming through the S's. That's our leader. He's on the way to the hill. Nobody near him. What will it be like in the background? There's Campbell-Walter onto the curbs, up the hill. Will he try that inside dive? Remember, his brakes are only as good as Campbell-Walter's. Checker flag being prepared, and no doubt about it, lights to flag victory. Oh, and Short even trying it all the way to the line. So it's Verdon-Roe from Jamie Campbell-Walter, from Martin Short, and a superb hand in the air.